Y'all follow? So the mastering of emotion, again, makes it such that you're no longer susceptible to the influence of other people or other things. It's a choice. You reign supreme. Y'all got it? Sometimes you gotta get mad and knock somebody out. This is anger well channeled. You see, she got a baton in one hand and that right cross in the nose. Why are we so restrained? Ain't enough black love.
All right.
Brother Kaba, he asked me yesterday on the radio. He said, where does black love fit into all this thing about African psychology? I said, black love yourself. Black love yourself. Because if I don't love me, I'm coming to whatever situation with a whole lot of baggage.
Right.
With a whole lot of baggage, and it can't go good. Unless, of course, it's the baggage business that I'm walking into. Then I'm all good. Drama, right? Then it's all good. But anything healthy and productive, not likely. All right, let me push. I know I'm running against the clock. Consciousness. So, consciousness, as I define it, are variations in awakeness and awareness. All right? So it's the same word. Awareness, just change the R and put a K in. Y'all get it? Awareness, just put the R into a K. So you got awareness and you got awakeness. Totally independent of each other. Y'all seen people knocked out sleep. So that means their awake is down, they're asleep. But you turn off the TV. What you doing? I was watching that. They was aware, although they weren't awake. Right? Then you got folks that's wide awake, but ain't aware of what's going on around them, right? Looking right at you. Don't see you. Right? Especially with these things.
Right.
I'm that dude that'll bump into you. I see you coming staring at your phone. I'm gonna scoot over and run right into you. Just for the point of it. Oh, my bad. You good? All right, yeah, you might want to look up while you walk.
Right.
Wide awake, but ain't aware. You got stuff going on all around you, but ain't aware. Awakeness and awareness, all right? Cool, let's push. Falsification of African consciousness. This brother, Amos Wilson. He's a Heru Kahudi Ogun energy. Very fiery, very unapologetic. Very much so. So I got a quote I got on the slide here. When we're talking about reclaiming ourselves, when we're talking about increasing consciousness, it's more than just information that we're talking about. We're literally talking about resurrecting ourselves. We're literally talking about waking ourselves up, going from that dead to that living perpendicular. Y'all follow? That's that resurrection piece. Resurrection is very real. Like, I've been resurrected. You know, not just through my initiations, but in life in general. So to rediscover one's history is not only an act of self-discovery, it's an act of self-creation, a resurrection from the dead, tearing away of the veil, and revelation of the mystery. So the history and the manipulation of time. So this is dealing with consciousness. I'm going to read a little bit of this. He talks about how this dude, this researcher, was hypnotizing students in his study. And he hypnotized a student to think that their past was gone. So he says, when I awake you, the past will be gone. Dr. Bernard Aronson of the New Jersey Neuropsychiatric Institute told a deeply hypnotized college student. When a post-hypnotic suggestion took hold, the student became drowsy and infantile, losing both memory and the powers of speech. So when he cut off the person's past, they became infantile, right? Y'all seen infantile adults, right? You know, not necessarily invalid, but infantile as in not in control of their emotion, right? Very childish in their expression. Okay, where does our past begin, right? They cut off thousands and thousands of years of it and subject us to plantation forward. No, shift forward, right? It affects you. So then he goes forward. So now they're going to cut off the present and they're going to cut off the future for these people. Aronson gave some subjects post-hypnotic suggestions that eliminate their past, present, or future. He gave others a vastly expanded past, present, or future. The consequences were profound. This is an Omni magazine. With no future, people feel a loss of identity and a euphoric, mystical sensation, free of both anxiety and motivation. One student found himself in a boundless, imminent present. Expanding the future, on the other hand, canceled all fears of death and induced serenity, contemplation, and a feeling of self-fulfillment. Now let's look at that in the context of our youth that's running around right now, totally afraid for their lives. Think about the mother who's worried about their child leaving the house every day because they think a cop is going to kill them, right? Let's think about the folks that's living in gang-infested territory, always hearing gunshots, always listening to music where people are getting murdered or talked about being murdered, and it cuts off their sense of a future, right? And so that makes them very lethargic in the present, meaning it makes them seem to be helpless and hopeless to where they don't want to do anything other than get high and hang out. Y'all seen this before, right? There's nobody in here, but them folks on U Street right now, I bet money. That was a joke. Dang, y'all hard crowd. Being robbed of the past brought on a semi-infantile torpid state, and the students with a dilated past became egocentric and inhibited. So canceling the present was the most disturbing, however. One subject turned catatonic. Others became severely depressed and almost schizophrenic. Stopping subjective time altogether produced an eerie sensation of death. The world moves on, but I don't, one student observed. The manipulation of consciousness is very, very real. It's very, very real, and it impacts how you move on a day-to-day basis. If what we think is conscious, like by the way, how they talk about hoteps and stuff now, I despise that. Calling people who are pretending to be conscious hoteps is bastardizing a very high principles that our ancestors hold dear, right? And that's like how all of a sudden, like this Islamic State is called ISIS.
Right. That's right.
That's an English acronym. Quit playing. You folks speak Arabic.
Right.
Anyway, we talk about that. Who know what this scene is? Say it again? Elevation of Newt. So we got Gab down here on the floor, chilling. We got Newt right here, right? And we got Shu right here, right? And so when I was meditating on this symbol, here's what I saw, is that Gab deals with your lower self, not your like lower self like a bad self, but your lower self like a physical, more dense, more concrete self. Newt deals with your higher self, or the higher aspects of your spirit, you know, the deeper aspects of yourself. And Shu being the one that separates it, like the atmosphere. To me, this is a formula. And it's showing us by controlling our breathing, right? By controlling breath, that's one mechanism by which you can unite heaven and earth again. Your higher self and your lower self again. Now check this out. You can breathe without thinking about it, right? In fact, it's an automatic process. Most important things are. Because if we had to depend on you to keep you breathing, most of us would be dead, right? We forget, we're so distracted by other stuff. Like, if it was up to our conscious minds to digest our food, we'd be dead, right? We're too busy watching love and hip-hop or whatever's on, whatever those show, reality, fake reality TV, scripted reality. So all these automatic processes are usually the most important things that your body needs, right? But breathing is one of the few that you can consciously control and consciously manipulate. Ain't that something? Hence why it's so important. So you got all these different breathing techniques, like nadi madi shudi, all these different things. We dual nostril breathing, right? You got all these different yoga postures, yoga systems, like yoga skills with Yasir. You got all these different techniques that have come from the ancients to our modern time that can help us to reunite our higher selves, those top part of the tree, wisdom, the unconditioned self, you know, that mayat piece, with the lower selves, with the emotions. You know, we put the emotions under the control of wisdom, right? You put your identity under the control of your God self. Y'all get it?
Right.
You put your thought processes under the control of wisdom and justice. Y'all get it?
Right.
And so when you learn to control the quote-unquote animal and animating aspects of yourself, then you're more capable of living as your divine self. Because doesn't your book tell you that ye are gods?
Right.
Written in red. Consciousness, if you've seen it before, don't answer. Who's seeing the FedEx logo for the first time right now? Good, I didn't think so. Who's noticing the arrow in the FedEx logo for the first time right now? Some still don't see it yet. Ain't it the truth? Don't tell them where. Ain't it crazy? Dick Gregory showed me this. I was taking him back to the airport in Nashville one time. You know, he gets amp sometimes. He was all right. He's like, hey, you seen that arrow in the FedEx logo? I'm like, dude. No, man, there's a FedEx truck in front of us. And so he pointed it out right there. Ain't that crazy? Been there. I ain't just do this.
Right.
Been there. Why would that be there? Why is it there? That's the question. It's for a reason. What are arrows to give you the idea of what?
Direction.
It's moving. And it's in the direction, right? And it's in the word express, right? Express. So what about the Fed part? Why is there? Huh? Make it sound official, right? There ain't nothing federal about it, other than the name. But FedEx, so it's all in there. But that's consciousness. So we see this jump all the time. And we're influenced by it all the time. But we don't necessarily see what we're looking at all the time.
Right.
I was walking to class one day, I was teaching at Howard, and you know that crack Donald's right down there?
Right.
And so there was like the semi truck there. You know, I had a little billboard on the side of the truck, and it was like this burger. And the burger was a face. I mean, the joint was a face. It had like the pickle was curled up like an eye, the cheese was a tongue hanging out the mouth, one bun was slid back like an open mouth, other bun was up like the top of the head. And it was like, it was something like good food on the double. So it looked like it was moving really fast and the wind was blowing this burger apart, but it was a face. So me being one, I pulled out my phone, I'm like, man, let me get a picture of this. So the dude that drive the truck, his name happened to be Jeff too. He said, man, what are you up to? I said, bro, you see this on the side of your truck? So I showed him the face on the side of his truck. He couldn't believe it. So I took it to class and showed my psychological testing students this picture. And one of them, well, I go there. So they talk crazy to me. They talk real bad like I was tripping, like I'm reading too much into it. One dude even said, it's like looking up at a cloud and seeing the state of Idaho. You know, just making stuff up. I said, no, it's there. It's marketing. So I called McDonald's. And McDonald's, they wouldn't give me the name of the artist. And they wouldn't tell me any information about it. Because I was trying to dig. I wanted to show and prove. Don't know what I was looking at.
You got a picture for us.
I do have a picture, but I don't have it in this presentation. I know, right? My bad. And you can't even Google it and find it. I do have a picture, though. Consciousness. This is true, this is true, this is the truth. So, we got this thing now where we're talking about my truth. My truth. My understanding is that, my understanding is that the truth is not personal at all. Right? The truth don't need nobody to believe it for it to be true. Let me back way out. Let me get Mr. Fuller on y'all real quick. Y'all should say, how do you define the truth, Dr. Menzise? So I define the truth as that which is. So he said, Dr. Menzise, what's your definition of truth? That which is. Which means that if it is, then it's true. If it ain't, then it ain't. You got it? And so you don't have to believe it for it to be. Right? You don't have to have the equipment to even register it for it to actually be there. Y'all following? And so all too often we get in an argument about stuff, personal stuff, and not necessarily dealing with what the truth is. And we say there are no absolutes. Nothing is what it is. Ain't we all in this room right now? We think so, right? You think so. It's a heck of a dream.
We think we're in this room.
We think we're in this room, Inception style. But this is just a matter of perspective. And consciousness is the factor behind how you perceive certain things. Remember, awareness and awakeness, independent of each other. So if you think that reality is only tangible things, that client that comes to you and said that they smelled their grandfather's cigar and he's been dead for 10 years, you would say that they're hallucinating. But if you're of the orientation in the worldview that says that energy is neither created nor destroyed and spirit is energy, then that means it just changed forms. And granddaddy's cigar smell could actually be in the room. And that could be granddaddy. What's up, youngin? Right? Worldview, consciousness. What do you think reality is? Unfortunately, they're the ones defining it for us, and it keeps us limited. It keeps us Clark Kent and not Kal-El. We lost our God name. Consciousness.
Talk about it.
So we got a situation to where, to me, it would seem like a public lynching.
That's what it was.
You know, I can't think what Mr. Fuller called it, but it's something where they're going to take and give people like this elevation, and it's always calculated to make them fall hard in front of everybody. like it was crazy because I think Bill Cosby was on the Bernie Mac show one day or something. And my little girl was watching it, and she saw Cosby, and she got nervous. Oh, it's Bill Cosby. I'm like, I dropped the ball. My wife shed a tear. She shed one single tear. Like, I grew up on the Cosby show in a different world. I went to HBCU. But we got to understand, we got to understand there's always a bigger game being played. It's always chess and not checkers. It's always chess and not checkers. No, no, no. Consciousness. We got a situation where being smart is acting white. We got children being teased for being intelligent by small brain individuals. Y'all see that?
Okay.
Little pea brains. Clowning this one. It's just because his identity is warped. He's not even aware of what he has, the capability of that. Whose fault is that? Whatever adults are supposed to be there handling that. Down the school. Consciousness. Being aware of what's taking place right in front of your face. Ouch. This one right here. So, they actually had ship packers. People whose job it was to be able to align the human cargo in such a way to maximize occupancy.
Right.
Yeah, they do. It was a schematic. It was a schema. It was like the blueprint. You stack them like this, and you'll get more, even with the ones that's going to die.
Right.
This ensure the survival of a certain number,
right.
That you can maintain a certain product ratio. It was true, and Willie Lynch didn't write it. The brother out of South Carolina claimed, I don't know if it's the brother from South Carolina, he's a nana, he claimed responsibility for it. But the principle, the psychological principle is absolutely true. This is real. They got these slave retreats that take place. Y'all heard of it? No.
What?
Homework. Google slave retreats. Do it when you get home, don't do it now. Yeah, it's when folks go and be auctioned off and treated like they're in enslaved Africa.
Oh, hell.
They have slave retreats.
Yeah, right there.
What time reference you talking?
Say it again?
What time reference you talking?
Time reference?
Now.
Yeah, it's 2000s. Really? Come on, don't believe me? Look it up. The prerequisite of passing the course is not to believe me. You don't have to believe me. All right, we got to move a little forward, move back. Our ancient traditions are timeless. There's no beginning and no end. Like Mama Miranda said, let the circle be unbroken. Right? We've got these two ways that time moves. Three really, but the one is linear, straightforward, and then we got the circular, right? Round and round and round. What Joy say? Joy DeGruy, she say, if I don't get you today, I see you mañana, right? So, but if you think about it, when you put the two together, you have a spiral, right? You put a straight line with a circle, now you have a spiral, which to me is more in line with what reality is. Right. Meaning that I would never get this moment back, but tomorrow there'll be at 8 o'clock at night.
Right, right.
So it's still moving forward, but it's the same point going forward. Y'all follow that?
Yeah.
And so with that understanding of spiral time, yes, we are advancing, but yes, we are still following the same path that our ancestors laid for us. Which means that the stuff that worked yesterday, it still works today, but there might be another way to do it and get the same results. Y'all follow? And so our spiritual technology is constantly advancing, but in order to understand what's even possible, we've got to know what our ancestors was doing. Right. As much as possible. And fortunate for us, we still have unbroken lineages in certain spiritual traditions. Like you got folks who can trace their Ifa lineage all the way back into Nigeria, and they can trace it all the way back and all the way back until they cross from East and West Africa. Right? The same with the Khan. We have spiritual traditions that can still trace their lineage way back unbroken, bringing forth the wisdom and the tools to our modern times for us to use and for us to benefit off of. But we got to get baby white Jesus out the way. We got to get that baby white Jesus out the way. Right. He was flying around yesterday shooting arrows at folks. Isn't that crazy? Butt naked midget shooting arrows at you. Come on. Yes, sir.
Define spiritual technology.
Okay, good question. So he wants me to define what spiritual technology is. Spiritual technology is the ability to use your spiritual tools to affect reality, to affect physical manifestation, mental manifestation, and also the spiritual manifestation.
The spiritual tool being?
So spiritual tools like meditation, visualization, certain breathing techniques, the combining of certain physical elements with an intention to make it affect things in a particular way. So when I say spiritual technology, it's mostly the unseen technology. the unseen energy that moves things intentionally and unintentionally, I guess. So our stuff still exists. But I look at, like, I love when our spiritual coalitions come together here in DC area, right? It's a beautiful thing, right? The old Sarah said, you know, we're doing a purification. We got that going on, right? Then we got the brothers with the drum deal. We got we got the Akam, we got the Bodum, we got the E5, we got the Kemetic, we got everybody coming together. And what I see is are pieces of the puzzle, like the story of Osir, right? Where the truth is broken up and scattered. And we all are finding our way to claim different parts of it. And so that's why I make no apologies, you know, being initiated into several traditions. I've had people say, you can serve only one God. So I do only serve one God. It's infinite though.
Right.
I act like because I got a leke on, I can't rock my uchat too. You know? I act like because I'm rocking the uchat, I can't become initiated as a 32nd degree man. I don't get it.
Right.
You know? There is no contradiction for me.
Right.
Because it's all universal.
Right.
These are our ancient traditions, and until we start to reclaim this stuff, I'm telling y'all, we will not go platinum. It won't work.
Right.
It will not work. We still go to church. Just know there ain't no baby white Jesus. Man, doing what white. If he was. Look at the jewels. Look at how it correlates with our African spirituality. That's what, if you're in the mosque, keep going to the mosque. But also look at the Sufism. Look into the spiritual aspect of Islam. And how them folks is making charms and working that juju. I sat in the compound and gathered a number of ants, folding them up in parchment paper that he just wrote in Arabic and stuffed it down in a round form, covered it with a red piece of silk, sewed a piece of copy on there, put it on your arm, and now metal can't pierce your body. I sat there and watched it being made and tested it on me. Straight up daggers. Would not break my skin. Razor blade. Take a branch, shave the branch with this razor blade. And then rub it across your skin, it won't break. Your eyelid won't break, your tongue won't cut. Yeah. That's where I learned about how the Haitian Revolution was so successful.
Right.
That's when I learned about that. The brother told me. He said, no. This is the science.
Right.
Because if you think about it, it's virtually impossible for that to have won.
Right.
Just like it's virtually impossible for them folks to conquer the entire continent just off of physical might.
Right.
No.
Using voodoo.
They work in their juju.
Right.
Look up, what is it, homework, Berlin Conference, I think it was. So right before the Berlin Conference, a lot of the European secret societies relocated to the same place. And they held their conference before going in and partitioning Africa. You could think they outwitted some folks. You could think that they went in there because they had guns and
No, they did that.
They were working their magic.
That's true.
Harry Potter, what do they call human beings that don't know magic? Muggles. It's in Webster's dictionary. Y'all muggles or not? Don't be caught being a muggle. That's a joke. But it's serious too. Don't be caught being a muggle. A muggle is a human being that don't know magic. Jesus was magic. He broke fish and fed the multitude. He turned water into wine.
Right.
Dude walking on water.
That walk, that's
What y'all
right.
talking about? Them folks was coming to attack Jesus. He disappeared. Y'all better quit playing.
Right.
He knew magic. Moses knew magic. He was learning in all the ways of Egypt. And it was good.
So true.
Quit playing. Yes, ma'am.
And it's recent, well, I won't say recent, but President Obama was in his first term, after he was elected, in Inauguration Day, his family in Africa sacrificed a calf. And they celebrated. And Western America thought it was a party, but actually what they did was that they did animal sacrifices for his protection.
They did a ritual.
And it was a party.
That's why they
Partied afterwards.
They did a ritual. They're ritualized. Been there, done that.
Let everybody that goes.
Yes, prophetic dreams. So we got people that are dreamers. Lucid dreamers, people that remember their dreams and see things in their dreams and they come manifest. So I don't know if you were here when they had the tree of life up, but that's like the offset energy. That's that motherly energy, you know? They're very intuitive, very insightful. Got them dreams, you know it's gonna pop, you know the number, you know the Powerball will be, you know somebody in 2 states away, nephew, hey, don't go to that party. So yeah, those types of things, absolutely. That's our spiritual technology, that's our spiritual science, and we should be very unapologetic about it. And one thing that Baba Wade Noble says, in one of his chapters, I think it's the Voodoo IQ paper that he wrote, maybe that one was the one about Egyptian thought and how it affects African psychology. One or the other. He talks about how the quote-unquote field of parapsychology is the field of psychology that should interest us the most as African people. Because it's that aspect of psychology, they say para, meaning it ain't quite psychology, it's around psychology, right? It's pseudo, right? But it's the one that deals with ESP. It's the one that deals with psychokinesis, right? And I've got probably about 15 books on this stuff that I've been studying. Even they got these cards that train you to be like psychic, like what shape is on the other side of this card. All of these studies were being done at like Stanford, at the Stanford Research Institute. You got a lot of Russian studies. It's a book called Behind the Iron Curtain.
Yeah, that's right.
Beyond
Psychic discoveries behind the Iron Curtain.
Discoveries, when I think about Discoveries Behind the Iron Curtain. And it details all this research. That movie with the men who stare at ghosts. Y'all remember that movie?
Yeah.
They made it like a joke, but that was a real division in the U.S. Army where they were dealing with parapsychology. That's the area that should interest us the most because it's the one that's closest to the actual definition of psychology, which is the study of the soul. Reclaiming Our Stolen Legacy. That's my baby girl. She swears she was reading that book.
She was.
She saw her mama reading it, so that's what happened, right? And that book right there, that's a really dense book. Anybody ever read her book? Ooh. Both volumes. Ain't it something, Father? So her book, the first one is called The Living Face of Ancient Egypt, and then the second volume is Egyptian Initiate. So what happened is that the way that the author, Aisha Schwaller-Delubics, wife to R.A. Schwaller-Delubics, the one dude that busted open the idea that the Egyptian temples, the Kemetic temples, were laid out like the human body. I mean, it's deep stuff. But anyway, his wife, she was there with him. So what she does in this book is she makes you take the perspective of a young child. Because the main character is a young child, and he's literally gaining wisdom that's written on the wall in the temples. It's slick. And it's in narrative form. And so he gets his butt kicked sometimes because he got a mouth on him. He always gets swift kicked and stuff when he acting out of line and all that stuff. But it's excellent story. Excellent is levels to this book. If you don't get no book I showed today, get her book. And then there's another book, it's smaller, but it's denser. It's called The Open Another Way. Also by Aisha Schwaller-Delubics. And she takes the wisdom out of the narrative and puts it in very straight scientific language. Really dope. So anyway, we got to reclaim this stuff, y'all. It's for us to reclaim. It's for us to reclaim. Our modern initiations, they exist. The first thing that we must do is not apologize. We need to ask for forgiveness. Ask for forgiveness from our ancestors. Those that struggled and died trying to maintain their African identity. Somehow we've forgotten about that. Not saying we know that it existed, but the impact of that. The impact of us losing our understanding of God. The impact of us losing our understanding of self and nature. Right? They replaced it with an empty form. They took God out of you and put it up in the sky some damn way.
Right.
And you're supposed to just wait and wait on it.
Right.
And wait some more.
Right.
What Fela say? Suffering and smiling. Suffer for the world. Enjoy for heaven. Yes? They got us, y'all. We got to reclaim this. You ain't got to. It would be in your best interest to reclaim it. Get your spiritual tool. Keep going to church. Ask Pastor Massa. Ask Pastor Massa, where was Jesus between the ages of 12 and 30?
Right.
If they're going to be honest, they'll say, I don't know.
Yeah. How about 1 to 12?
Right, 1 to 12 too, right? So there's, okay, in the Apocryphal Bible, there's a book of Jesus talk about when he's a little boy. There's a little mischievous little thing too in this story. He killed somebody, didn't he? Yeah, threw him off the roof. He was going hard as a baby. Anyway, let me move. Hey, we running out of time. Let me fast forward really, really quick. Bobby, you show that, don't you? I'm just gonna get all the way to the end, y'all. So we have a little bit of time for Q&A. That was those canopic jars. This is the one I was telling you about, with the digestive.
What are you keeping the?
It's really slick because this is a judgment scene right here. Yeah. They claim this is a judgment scene. If you notice those 4 sons of Heru right there? And so this is your divine self, Hosea. This is your highest self as I've come to know it. And so you're presenting yourself in front of yourself. Right? And so that's why, so when you talk about the 42 declarations of Ma'at, The way that some people work it is that in the morning you wake up and say, I will not
Right.
these things. And then at night going to bed, you say what you have not. Right? So you testing yourself every day. So every night you're judging you. Because you are the only one that can really judge you because you're there 24/7, 365 with you. Right? And it's really slick. The way I come to understand this is that these are your organs telling on you. You notice they standing here with the judge looking at you. They ain't with you looking at the judge being judged too. They looking at you like, huh. You know, so your stomach talking about, yeah, they stuff me with hog, mog, and pig. Think about it. And say, they say we worship. Think about what better thing to worship than your heart? What better thing to worship than your lungs that's been breathing in oxygen for you all this time? Right? This is not insanity. This is right and exact. It's better than worshiping something you ain't never seen and they never did nothing for you that you know of, right? True or false? It ain't even worshiping, it's honoring.
Right.
Anyway, let me keep moving. I know. Hey, stop me whenever. Just cut it off.
Whoa,
Just
go
pull
back.
the plug. I know, right?
Yeah.
Right there? Nation of gods and earth. So we've got examples, y'all. We got examples of all these elements. We got the martial energy. We got the example of all of this stuff. Am I going the wrong way? All right, I'll stop right here. So this is a child sitting at, I think it's supposed to be like one of the pharaohs as a child sitting at the feet of Horus or Heru, the horse. He's sitting like this. You know, some say that that's a symbol of being initiated. He's learning. My stepfather tell me all the time, say, you can't talk and listen at the same time, right? So he's sitting there like this, receiving instruction. This is what our babies need to understand, is that the world is their classroom. Our ancestors have long paved the way for us. It is up to us to unapologetically take steps towards reclaiming this, to whatever degree you can, and continue to live your life in your own comfort zone. But I'm begging you all, do something in this direction. This is our salvation, the reclaiming of our African spiritual traditions. And there's a whole bunch of them to claim. You got a bunch to choose from. But at the core, it's the same worldview. At the core, it's the same underlying message. At the core, it's the same process and movement. Choose the one you want, but choose one. I really appreciate y'all attention, Brother Tony. Thank you for this.
So, thank you all for coming out.